Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues from across Southeast Asia, on this day, 31st August 2023, we, the undersigned civil society of thinkers, think tank, youth, activists, journalists, and civil society organizations from across Southeast Asia and Indonesia, joined hands through the ASEAN People Centrum, witness a growing discrepancy between the state-centric orientation of current state practices with the desired emancipated people-centric outlook as stipulated in the ASEAN Charter. We express our deep concern over the continuous signs of discrepancy between rhetoric and products by ASEAN and the needs of people. ASEAN leaders and mechanism claim to have engaged civil society, but the reality is far from such claims. ASEAN has grown to become more into an elitist and state-centric rather than a people-centered entity. This affects negatively on how ASEAN responds to the dynamic of international politics, where there has been a high expectation for ASEAN to be central. Unless the people are fully embedded within, ASEAN is hollow. Through ASEAN People Centrum, a non-state regionalism initiative comprising of youth, thinkers, think tanks, journalists, and civil society activist organizations from various levels in Southeast Asia that explores and acts together to improve the achievement of our works and networkings of people in Southeast Asia, connected by synergy policies and powered by partnerships of the network. We noted the following findings on ASEAN practices on matters pertaining to people in the region. 1. ASEAN member states continue to work in silo rather than through ASEAN mechanism to generate investment, trade, tourism opportunities. 2. ASEAN people continue to move across borders of Southeast Asian countries and other parts of the world without effective response from states against all forms of threats, transnational crimes, and transboundary challenges that the ASEAN Charter promised. 3. ASEAN people continue to struggle in their own national boundaries to alleviate poverty and narrow the development gap. 4. ASEAN people, including women, youth, persons with disability, remain left behind with less than equitable access to opportunities for human development, social welfare, and justice. 5. ASEAN creates exclusive mechanism for participation rather than inclusive engagement for civil society in its dialogues and interface with officials. 6. ASEAN mechanism for civil society engagement are placed in a separate track from the main organ track. 7. ASEAN lacks attention to the quality of democracy in the region by advancing clean governance, transparency, and anti-corruption. Last but not least, journalists are placed in the position of focusing matters only on the stated done by the state officials rather than the substantive works inside of ASEAN main organs. In other words, ASEAN claims of working according to the ASEAN Charter remains more of a work in process rather than a work in progress. ASEAN leaders should recall that ASEAN is not formed for the sake of having dialogues among government officials and selected civil society representatives. ASEAN leaders should be mindful that the Bangkok Declaration, signed on the 8th of August 1967, has progressed since the ASEAN Charter, issued in December 2008, which is people-centered in spirit. We there also have documents such as the ASEAN Community Vision 2025. We also have the ASEAN Human Rights Declaration. We therefore conclude, ASEAN leaders have failed to exercise the spirit of the ASEAN Charter. There is minimal evidence of a people-centered ASEAN that is responsive to the people and to the nuances of challenges faced by people in the region. ASEAN Leaders has been centering ASEAN to find consensus among leaders only and falling short of the aim of ASEAN centrality. We call upon the 43rd ASEAN Summit to address this challenge in the midst of new international dynamics. Thank you very much. Applause for us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.